So it sounds a bit weird to say, but there is somewhat of a grieving process that comes with finishing a really good game. Especially if you spend quite a bit of time playing it. You'll start the game and get so wrapped up in it that you'll spend so much of your free time playing it that when you finish it, you're unsure of what to do with your life. It seems that most avid gamers go through this grieving process at least a few times in their life. Some call it post-game depression, whereas others don't really have a specific name for it. I know that just thinking off the top of my head that I was lost and somewhat sad after finishing The Witcher 3 and its expansions, and after defeating the legendary dragon in Skyrim. More recently, after finishing Final Fantasy 15, I also found myself feeling pretty sad. The whole process actually got me thinking about the 5 stages of grief, also known as the Kubler-Ross model, which is generally associated with loss or the idea of impending death, and how this model could possibly be applied to various other happenings in life. In this case, the non-serious activity of finishing a really good video game. In my own experience, the feeling of grieving after finishing a video game does fit the model in some ways. In fact, to me, the process very much goes like this. This often happens that moment you see the credits rolling across the screen. The game could have taken you months to finish or a couple of hours to finish. The main thing is that you really can't believe you actually just finished the game. Basically, the initial shock of actually coming to the end of something that may have taken so much time in your life is generally quite overwhelming. You may have been on the hype train for this game for months and spent all of your free time playing it. In addition to constantly thinking about it when you should have been doing some real-world tasks that actually require your full attention, but no one's gonna judge. The real thing here is that you finished the game and you're just having a hard time accepting that you did. In my experience, anger is a stage that doesn't always occur. Whether it occurs or not really is dependent on your experience with the game in question. Earlier I mentioned that gamers enter the denial stage for different reasons. For example, you may have bought a new game at the average price a AAA game goes for nowadays, only to finish it in 6 hours. While the debates of whether hours of fun should be tied to the price of a game is a debate for another day, there is no denying that some people will be pretty damn annoyed. I have experienced it myself, and it's not fun, especially if you didn't particularly enjoy the game. This is the sad stage of wishing you could go back in time so you could experience the game for the very first time again. You want to go through the trials and tribulations that made playing the game so much fun without the knowledge of knowing what's coming. Sometimes this can be amended with significant downloadable content packs or expansions. When The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine expansion was first released, this satiated my need to play the game for a couple of more hours, but it did eventually come to an end like I knew it would, and I was back to wishing the game had more content coming along in future. Overall, bargaining is just about either wishing that the game was longer or that they'll add more post-release content to it that extends your overall gameplay experience. The game is finished and there is nothing you can do about it. You can play it again, but it won't be the same as the first journey through it. Key plot twists, gameplay sequences, and feelings of triumph will be known to you, and thus you won't feel the same way playing through the game again. You've finished it and it has changed you in ways you never thought possible when you first started it. And now you're just going to have to deal with the fact that you are never going to be able to relive the same journey in the same way ever again. Finally, you begin to accept the fact that you've finished a really great game, or sometimes a game that just wasn't all that long. You begin to realize that you'll never experience this title for the first time again. But that's fine, because the experience you had was totally worth it. Or at the very least, you're over having paid full price for the game. The primary action involved in this phase is looking for a new game to play. While it may take you some time to get fully into this new game due to the hangover associated with the previous title, eventually you will, and you will begin moving on. And then the cycle will inevitably begin again. Have you ever experienced post-video game depression? Which games were you sad about finishing? Please share in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe if you want.